Hello everybody, my name is Will and welcome back to Flyout. Today we're taking another shot at a bi-weekly build challenge. So we did this before, we had a trainer prompt, so we built probably the first jet that I was seriously proud of in this game. It's kind of like a single-seater, well, it's dual-seater, but it's a tiny little thing, weighs absolutely nothing, and has a little bit of payload capacity to bring some rockets and stuff, and that's all it really needed to do. But this time, we're going to have to up our game a little bit. So, we shall be building a 1970s naval interceptor. So, to give you an idea of the kind of things that we're talking, here, the F-14 is a 1970s naval interceptor, and I imagine most of you know that one a little bit. So, some pretty hefty competition from the real world, and the basic gist of this thing, and allow me to basically just get into some lore of this thing here, is the French were a little bit jealous of the F-14. They looked at it and they went, oh, cool. We want one of those so that we can sell it to people, not realizing that people didn't really want to buy these super expensive interceptors and instead wanted to buy cheaper, more maintainable craft, and then you keep the super expensive interceptors to yourself. But regardless, they went ahead and they developed this massive interceptor with a bunch of futuristic technologies, which would mean that the production cost, maintenance cost, and subsequently the lack of buyers was vast. Which means that ultimately it was a failure. In my canon, in my head canon for my own vehicle, it fails, but it was still an interesting technological demonstrator. And so, in doing so, I took a lot of design cues from the 70s Mirages. So technically a 70s Mirage is the Mirage 2000, that's late 70s, but it kind of gives you an idea of what the sort of design philosophy was at that point in time. So I've taken a couple of cues from that. So the intakes are very Mirage-y. I tried to make the cockpit quite Mirage-y. And also the one big central engine, rather than the two side-by-side, just felt more fitting to the French aviation, I guess. Obviously, the logical thing to go for is probably two smaller engines here, but we've just gone for the big fat one in the middle, because why not? It's good fun. But yeah, we were instructed to put in a couple of naval features, such as an arrestor hook, folding or swept wings, and so I decided that I would go for a little bit of that. And you might be wondering what I'm doing right now. I'm not going to spoil this one yet. Some of you may work it out, probably some of you, most of you have read the title and already know. But regardless, if you don't know that, then I'm not going to spoil it just yet. But the one I will spoil is I do use variable geometry wings on this thing. So this is mostly a delta wing, which is interesting. So this is a variable geometry delta wing. It's a little bit strange, but basically once you're swept back, the wing becomes one solid, smooth leading edge, and when they're not swept, you kind of have this non-delta configuration where it sticks out a little bit further, and you have these massive wings. Now, at the moment, it's slightly different in that the delta is when you have the no sweep on your wings. I do decide to change that in the end because I just needed a little bit more lift to get this thing off the ground early, so that way round just made a little bit more sense. But other than that, we had to have a range of 1,500 nautical miles, which the one in this video doesn't have. I'll be attempting to do that in my own time, but unfortunately I'm really strapped for time at the moment because Christmas coming up. So this is going to be the one you see in the video. It's not going to be the submission one, but I wanted to get this out. So, and subsequently, it had to reach Mach 2 at 50,000 feet, or 15,500 meters. So that's got to have quite a lot of power to be doing that, especially with a aircraft as big as this one. This is a big, old two-seater, and it has to be quite big, because we need to have 6 missiles, and subsequently I added on 2 drop tanks as well, just because it kind of adds to my range quite a little bit. I don't know if there's a way at the moment where you can prioritize which fuel tanks the plane burns from, because I tend to find that when I put drop tanks on as well as an internal tank, it'll take from the internal tank first. I don't know if it's just the proximity to the engines that does it or what. And you guys getting a treat today. I'm actually doing landing gear doors on this thing. So you will actually see one of my aircraft in a video with landing gear doors, not even a later modification that I decided to add them to in another video. And not like the VTOL where I had them on the back, but not on the front. These are going on the entire thing, the front and rear. Unfortunately, I didn't have the foresight to consider that this landing gear was not particularly long. So what we have is a kind of stubby landing gear, and the front landing gear still doesn't quite fit in the landing gear bay. But that's fine, I'm sure. That's what you want really in a plane. But you know, whatever. It's still fun to do these landing gear doors. I don't know if I've done a little run through of how to do it. I think on a stream I ran through bomb bays. No, it was on my last video, wasn't it? I ran through bomb bays in my last video at the very end, and that also is the same trick that you use for your landing gear doors, basically. So that's how you do those. If you don't already know, you can watch the end of the last video. There we go. That's extremely handy that I did that and then completely forgot. Here's the front landing gear door going on, and any moment now we'll just slap on a different material onto this thing because the general shape is coming along quite nicely. You can see we've kind of got that Mirage fuselage. It's kind of got the mounting for underslung wings, but obviously because of our, should we say, second trick that I'm not explaining yet, we've had to go with the wings on top of the fuselage. So, you know, you can keep theorizing as to what that is if you don't already know, but it's pretty cool, I can't lie. And then we just add on a little electronic warfare unit on the tail here. Nothing too fancy, probably just a rear warning radar receiver or whatever the hell they're called. And then I did actually decide, because the center of lift was so far back because of these wings, that we would go for a canard configuration. Just couldn't really move the center of mass any further back because the engine was so big to make the center of mass and center of lift in a good spot, that the canards were probably the best bet. So for the purpose of this video, I will just be painting this thing like a grey, like a smooth-ish metal grey, just to make it look better than the default metal, which looks a little bit World War II for this plane. But also, I didn't really end up with enough time, alongside tweaking this thing to actually work properly. I didn't really have enough time to give it a proper paint job yet, but hopefully the one that I submit to the actual challenge will do. So you can join the Flyout Discord in the description, and you can see it there. You can also join my Discord and get it from the plane repository file, and also you can subscribe. Haha, you bet I thought I forgot. I didn't, but last second, because yeah, the build it's over. Okay, so here we have our 70s Interceptor. Now, obviously, this thing isn't painted yet, and also I've got some range issues, so I'm going to need some bigger drop tanks on this, but as you can see, the drop tanks are already kind of as big as we can get while still being on this smaller section of the wing, and we can't really have a big underslung one. We could probably get one under here. It wouldn't be massive, though, because obviously these springs on the wheels do compress a fair amount, but regardless of all of that, we have, sorry, not 6 AIM 9s, not 9 AIM 6s, 2 of these drop tanks. We have full landing gear doors. This one is a little bit too small for the wheels now. I had to increase the size of the wheels. I couldn't be asked to change the landing bay. It just took forever. We have a massive single engine in the center here, because why have 2 engines when you can have one really big one? Because that's just cool. We have this spine running all the way down the back here, and we have some suspicious ridges in this aircraft, which some of you probably have read the title and know what that is already, but if you don't, I'm not going to spoil it for you until we're actually in flight. So our first trick for today is our landing gear really bouncing around. And our second trick here is when we press flaps, do you see it? have you noticed the entire wing is the flaps? The entire wing angles up, like on the F8 Crusader, by 3 degrees to provide us with a little bit of extra lift. We have this one massive engine giving us a hell of a lot of acceleration, and for some reason these wheels, I just cannot get them strong enough to actually not rock crazily while we're on the ground, but, you know, that's fine. And here we are, as you can see, a fairly short takeoff run. We are not hugely agile on this thing, and that's fine, because after all, we were tasked to build a fast interceptor, we weren't tasked to build a fighter. But now let's bring this back down so that we can return to normal flight mode, and when we're in normal flight, I think this thing looks super mean. The angled down wings kind of has Hunter vibes, but then you've got these air intakes from the Mirage. I'm a huge... not Hunter, what am I talking about? Harrier. You've probably already commented, what the hell are you talking about the Hunter? As you can see, we're already breaking the sound barrier, but these wings aren't very swept. However, luckily, if I just press this button here, we've resolved that. So we go from this big kind of half delta wing to a more swept back arrangement, and as you can see, we now have a little bit less drag, and we are going Mach 1.26 in a climb. Now, the challenge was to reach Mach 2 at 15.5 kilometers up. We will do that, but if we just level out a little bit here, let me just use mouse aim so that we can do it smoothly. Not that any inputs of this aircraft are particularly responsive. You can see that we're already scraping the 1.5 Mach kind of territory. And if I just leave it for a few minutes, I think we'll hit Mach 2 here at half the altitude. And there you go, Mach 2 reached quite easily, and we're still accelerating. This thing absolutely chews through fuel though, so we do need to probably turn this engine down quite a lot for the actual submission, but if we give it a little bit more of a climb, let's reach this 15.5 and see if we can reach that Mach 2, just as we were requested. And obviously I will tune this thing a little bit before I make an actual submission to this contest. Just once I've got everything sorted out, but that could take quite a while. So you're going to see this fun experimental version of it, because why not? And here we go. We can start leveling her out, and I don't know. I don't think we're going to come close to reaching Mach 2 without the afterburner, but might be worth a try. Yeah, no, we're already decelerating. So let's hit that afterburner on, and let's see what we can do here. Okay, my confidence was somewhat misguided with this thing getting to Mach 2, but we have got there eventually. This took a really long time to get to Mach 2. It does not like this kind of an altitude, so if any of you know how to make a jet engine work better at higher altitudes, I don't really know, so let me know in the comments. That'd be useful. But yeah, I mean, why don't we just try and shoot a couple of things down now that we have demonstrated that our aircraft meets the requirements? Okay, we have a target drone. It is above us and heading away a little bit, upsettingly. So we're going to have to do a big old turn. Actually, no, I think it's heading towards me. So what we can probably do here is just let my pilot have a little bit of a breather here, because he is getting a little close to passing out. Just get a bit of altitude, drain off a little bit of the speed. We're going to select our IR missiles, and now we should be ready to go. I'm going to cut the engine here and just drop down, hopefully behind this guy. It could take a little while. This is not a very agile aircraft, especially not at 15,500 meters. Okay, we're dropping in behind it here. We just got to get the nose up, and as you can see down at this altitude, we're picking up a little bit more agility and launch one of those missiles, and surely, there we go. No problem at all. Got him. What we could now do, actually, is we can see Maybe we can gun down a SAM all the way over there. Okay, that's fine. We can do that. All right, I've just let loose all of my missiles. We're going guns only for this SAM. And oh my goodness me, he's already launching missiles. That is bad news bears for me. Luckily, got some of these. Okay, we got 11 kilometers to this missile. We're going to do a maneuver here. We're going to pull roughly horizontal to it, and we're going to pop some chaff and flares, and hopefully... Ooh, a little bit close, but it did miss. And now, let's drop ourselves to the deck here and see if we can avoid it firing any more before we get close enough to operate our guns. Okay, another one launched, 26 kilometers, and they're going to be closing in quickly. But I think because I'm diving so hard, those missiles might get confused and hit the ground. Yes, they are. So that's good for us. We just have to make sure that we can get this guy before he launches any that we can't avoid. Okay, at this altitude and speed, we are starting to jiggle a little bit. My fly-by-wire skills are still not particularly spectacular, but hopefully somewhere we'll find this SAM and we'll be able to take him out. We are just bouncing too much here, though, I'm afraid, and he's on the other side of the hill anyway. That is no good. Okay, but we know where he is now. We're going to drop our speed a little bit, so hopefully we don't bounce as much coming in next time, because I think that's just the speed we're going at. We're getting quite a lot of buffeting. Okay, we're popping these wings out. We can pull a couple more Gs with these all the way extended. As you can see, hopping back into mouse aim. Hopefully here we have just a little bit less trouble with moving, and our rudder control could definitely use with a little bit of work. But here we go. Let's see. Shot out. No luck yet. No luck yet. Oh, come on. No, not enough rudder. Not enough rudder. Gotta pull up. Okay, that's not good. We are not the best at aiming here. Coming around for another pass here. And oh my goodness me, we've really got a little bit of agility going now that we've got the wings extended and we've dropped our ordnance. That is pretty crazy, actually, how much better that is. If we get in close, we should be able to take this guy out any second now, maybe? I don't know if we can, actually. Oh, can we not kill him with guns? That would be a heartbreak. And also kind of a good thing, because my aim may not be as embarrassing as I thought it was. Whoa, we can pull some serious maneuvers at low speed here. However, I don't know if we can actually control it well enough. Ooh, pull up, pull up, pull up, pull up. Ooh, my goodness me. The rudder clearly needs to be a little bit more authoritative with our control here. That's not spectacular. Okay. We're getting out of here before we get ourselves into any more trouble. I don't think that is going well for us at all in a million years. So yeah, let's skedaddle here. And I have just thought, I think what may be happening is as our fuel burns away, our center of mass might be moving closer to the center of lift, which is making us more agile. Not actually spectacular, because I'm worried that as we burn more and more fuel, we're actually going to become uncontrollable. But seemingly with the wings swept back, it's not too bad. But yeah, I have no idea where the runway is. I know it's roughly in that direction, but we'll have to take off and land again with this thing to see how it lands, which I'm worrying may be pretty nasty. It may not do that very well. Okay, let's see how easy it is actually to land this thing. Now, taking off with this wing may be fine. Landing may be interesting. I haven't actually tried it yet. This is my first attempt at landing in this thing. That was a terrible takeoff. Okay, let's see if we can pull this off. I can't imagine it'd be too bad. Hopefully, maybe. Who knows? Okay, now we are all, well, not all, but mostly lined up with the runway. We just have to deal with the somewhat shaky transition, maybe, between going from the normal flying mode to the mode with the wings up. And you know what? That was actually surprisingly okay. So surprisingly okay that we're actually going a little bit too quick. But that's fine. We can deal with that. We have brakes. We are absolutely levitate down. I've turned off the engine so the idle throttle doesn't give us any thrust here. And if we just goodness me. Oh, this is bad. Oh, I've pressed the wrong key there. Oh, yep, that's fine. That's actually good. That's good. Yep, perfect. And how does it always end this way? Yeah, that suspension is something else, isn't it? Okay, we're going to come in for take 2 on that landing and see if we can not completely destroy the entire aircraft. But this time, yeah, we're going a little bit slower now. Hopefully we don't massively undershoot the runway here. We can give a little bit more beans, no huge issue, just in case, and I think we did need that there, but in theory, this should be okay. Let's just straighten her up before we hit the brakes here, so that we don't accidentally spear into the floor aggressively, because that is not typically considered ideal. Then we hit the brakes and really make sure that we're going in a straight line. And oh goodness me, we're tipping. It's doing it again. I don't know what is up with the suspension. There's a complete mind of its own. You can see it there. It is getting really confused. So I don't really know what that's about, but yeah, I mean, that's only a couple million of property damage, really, so I'd say that's a pretty good landing. So if you've enjoyed this one, please leave a like, comment, and or subscribe. There'll be plenty of other things like this coming up in the near future, both in Flyout and in Sprocket, though in Sprocket it probably won't fly. No guarantees, though. It might. I don't know, maybe. We might be able to work that one out. But yeah, if you enjoyed this one, please do, yeah, I've already said like and subscribe. I've done this so many times. It's going in. Bye! And as always, a huge thanks to this channel's patrons: Ambroise Badger, CamJam135, Cody N, DJ Pete, Gavoon, Gunmaster929, Sad Cat, Just Casual 260 on 1, Last Urgent 11, Mark, Mildly Invested, Muck N Officially, Nicholas K, Rolfsbucken, Ryan Brody, The Canesian Emperor Zerasheim, and Zeit Wolverine. Thank you so much for your support.